Hi, today I'm talking to Simon Bernstein from Empathy. He's had over 20 years in the housing sector, and today I'm going to talk about agile teams. Simon, why are agile teams so important, especially for the housing sector? Why are they important for the housing sector? And also, what's your experience of how this can work long term?
Well, Johnny, since March of 2020, people have had to work remotely. Let's face it, from a housing perspective, those guys who are out and about as neighbourhood officers or as an operative doing repairs have worked remotely for years and years. So this is not new for the housing sector, but it is new for the majority of people. And I think the important thing to recognise is the fact that this is going to be the way forward. With many of the organisations that I've been working with, there is an understanding about the fact that the office will never ever be the office as it was previously again. And that's great because people are responding and people are looking forward. So I think the critical thing here is if we have got people working remotely, that is one part of agile working, because it's not just quote working from home, it's how we work, it's when we work, and it's about getting organizations to really think differently about how they're measuring people's outputs. So for example, we need to get to a much more outcome-based performance situation than perhaps people are at the moment.
And is there something here around the community as well, around creating that very strong sense of community? How does that work with agile teams?
You're absolutely right. The thing is that of course people are more productive at home. Well, most people are. People are spending less time traveling, which is no bad thing. People are making a good contribution towards the environment because they're not burning up fuel, etc. The critical thing is, though, is to understand the fact that when we go to work not just to do a job and to hopefully because we believe in the purpose of the business that we're working for. We go to work for that sense of community. In other words, how we celebrate together when it's somebody's birthday, how perhaps we induct people into the business, having a chat at the edge of somebody's desk. And a lot of those things can be lost. And so creating a sense of community is really, really important. And that is something that has to be done on a long-term basis, because of the fact that whilst teams are working in an agile way, it means that you're unlikely to get everybody together at any one time. And equally important, Johnny, and I think this is something that maybe people haven't thought about so much, is it's not just working with your team members, it's also collaborating across the business, collaborating between different departments. And of course, that is significantly critical for organizations who want to actually really focus upon the future, because collaboration is at the heart of everything you do. We all hear things like we work in silos. And of course, the danger of agile working is the fact that people can go back into silos because people might be working at different times. People might be available and not available at different times. We need to really think about how do we build that sense of community. And one of the most important things as a starting point in this is ask your people.
I mean, you brought in the danger of not working in an agile way. And also you talked about silos. I mean, in my experience, silos is a huge issue in a lot of housing associations. How does working in an agile way, can you break down silos in that way? And are there any other dangers that you've not mentioned that we need to consider?
Absolutely. I think the thing with this is an understanding about the fact that, of course, for many months, people have the challenge of social distancing. That's not going to be with us forever. So it's about understanding the fact that you can get together with people, because one of the best ways of collaborating is bouncing ideas off each other. And yes, we can do it over Zoom or over Teams, but getting together and making sure that people have a workspace where they can actually go there, and it creates the right environment and the right feeling so that people can be creative and can really challenge, how do we do what we do now? Is it getting us where we want to get us to? And how can we build on what we've learned over the months where we were working completely remotely to actually make things better moving forward. And you know what, though? There's some things I think which are really important, what I would like to say, and that is we need to recognize the fact that whilst there are lots of pluses to agile working, there are also some negatives. One of the things, for example, that I found in my work with organizations is the boundaries become very, very blurred. And so people might be working at different times of the day, but they're working additional hours. And there's this sense of guilt about the fact that if I'm not working, then I should be working. Or, for example, if I'm spending time with my children, I should be working. Or if I'm working, I should be spending time with my children. So we need to make it safe to create boundaries for people. One of the other desperate things that people are experiencing is a massive growth in the number of emails that they're receiving. And because people are working at different times, they might get an email at 11 o'clock at night, which they think, well, I've got to answer that. Yeah. So it's about having those sort of cultural pillars, which means that those sorts of things stop happening. And remember that when people are working remotely, is that sometimes you've got to be aware of, I should say all the time, we need to be aware of health and well-being. We need to be checking in with people regularly.
Yeah. Simon, you talk about dealing with real issues, not theory. I think one of the ways, understanding you've got a very clear process, but at the same time, you also like throwing agendas away. Is that right?
Absolutely right, Johnny. I mean, I can talk from my experience, but every organization is different. So, for example, one of the things that's critical is how organizations communicate between them and with each other. Now, some do it really well. Some do it very historically.
Not so well.
Not so well. Good word. The word wouldn't come. You can tell this is being recorded live. I'm editing here, John. So the thing is that no two organizations are the same. Yes, they might have similar issues, but all the things underpinning those issues are going to be different. Culture, leadership, communication, and also the ability to really embrace agile working, to not ensure that people don't feel guilty, ensure that people are in a situation whereby they're receiving individual support, because remember, Johnny, personalization in this is really important.
Absolutely.
And if we create the right climate like that, then you will get the best out of everybody. But it's also a complete change in mindset to think, why isn't she at her computer at 11 o'clock? Why isn't he doing this now? We've got to sort of become much more trusting and recognize the fact that we can manage performance, but we need to trust people until they break that trust.
Absolutely. It's always great to chat to you, Simon, because you're so passionate about this, and I'm confident that a lot of people watching can relate to this as well. If a senior leader in the Housing Association is watching and wants to chat further with you, what's the best way to contact you?
Before they contact me, Johnny, I want them to really be honest with themselves and reflect on how they have contributed to the success of remote working to this date. I want them to really reflect on how much they really want agile teams and how much they're prepared to let go and to develop the people around them. And once they've reflected, to have their own thoughts and ideas, and then give me a call on 07984 470 816, or just drop me an email to simon@empathy-transformation.co.uk. I'm really, really happy to chat, and that's with absolutely no obligation whatsoever. Use my experience, use my resource to help you to reflect and to ensure that you really are having agile working within your business and getting the best from it for you and your customers.
Thanks, Simon. Really look forward to speaking to you again soon. Take care. See you all soon.